Hello everyone and welcome to an unboxing of Masters of the Universe, the board game Clash for Eternia from Come On Games. And there might be a little bit of confusion if you've seen maybe just bits and pieces of He-Man themed miniature games. This is one of two He-Man themed games that Come On did. I believe the other one was released in Europe called Fields of Eternia or something similar to that. This Clash for Eternia was originally American only, but they did a second run on GameFound, I believe, where they are now able, thanks to licensing agreements, able to bring it to Europe. I don't think that's shipped yet. I got this from America via my channel sponsor, Noble Knight Games, who you can check out via the affiliate link in the description below, and if you buy anything from that link, I will be compensated. There is also a non-Come On Games related He-Man board game. I think it's called Battlegrounds. Masters of the Universe Battlegrounds, I believe, is a full name by Archon or someone similar. It's a European company. That's quite hard to track down if you didn't originally back it, so not looking at that one. Today we're looking at the core box for this though. I watched He-Man when I was a child, to give away my age somewhat, and I even watched the live action movie, but let's not talk about that. We're going to open this and we're going to take a look. Well, before we crack into the actual contents of the box, here's what's on the back, giving you an overview of the two sets of miniatures, the good guys, bad guys, and general list of components. It is for 1 to 5 players, age 14 plus, taking roughly an hour, although I believe that does go a lot higher than that if you play the later scenarios. From what I've seen, earlier scenarios will not take you that long. And as with most Come On Games products, what you can definitely expect is decent quality sculpts, but maybe a little bland or a little basic. Basic is probably fair. Basic gameplay, because basic isn't necessarily bad, it means easy to understand. But if you're looking for super duper complexity, it probably isn't going to offer you that. And if you're looking for more of a two sides create an army and fight each other skirmish thing, I think Battlegrounds is probably more for you. This is a bit more narrative and more board game like rather than miniature like, even though it does obviously come with miniatures, but we can talk more about that as we crack open the box. So one little giant lid off later. This is quite a large box for the record. I'm going to guess that's like 4 inches. We'll just prop that up there and hope and pray it won't actually fall. It might. So as with most Come On stuff, we get a QR code scan to show their other products, and we get our core rulebook. Children, put down those, I've forgotten the quote from the Simpsons episode, put down those fascinating, entertaining Mattel products. The rulebook is 23 pages, including the, well, 24 if you include the quick reference on the back, and is a little similar to Gotham City Chronicles, if you're familiar with how that played, just in the sense that there is a sort of, well, in that game it was called the River, it's called the tracker board here, but it is kind of similar, although you track both sides on it rather than just the villains, or, you know, the AI, if you're playing that particular mode. But we're not going to look through every single page, but not too many rules to worry about, and I think there is an errata available for the game as well, because there was one misprint on a card, or a misunderstanding regarding the AI rules in particular, that has since been cleaned up. But beyond that, we have our scenario booklet. Everything has to be, like, it's not just the copyright for Mattel there, you also have to have Mattel's logo, and I bet it's on the back too. Actually no, it's not on the back. So this is the scenario booklet. Oh, in English and American, that's handy. And here we have the glossary of the 23 missions that come in the core box. Other boxes are available. It was at Kickstarter, so there was a bunch of boxes. And it tells you the modes in which each given scenario can be played. Now, if you are only playing against AI, there's only 4 to pick from. 2 basic ones and 2 very difficult ones. The rest are meant for open sides where, you know, you could play as the bad guys versus the good guys, or very specific set ones where there's a couple where it can only be played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 where that, oh, 6, sorry. 6 where that's the only option. But I believe there is third party, just players making AI rules for every scenario available, but official support for the AI mode is a little lacking compared to other things they've done. Glossary of what the terms mean, and then your basic setup for any given mission. You play on a board that size, I'm guessing that's 2x3, and you have scenery. There was a 3D scenery terrain set available at the Kickstarter, I believe, but I'm not sure if that's sold outside of that at all. But yeah, there's a rough overview of the various scenarios. But now, more importantly, we see what's below. Ah yeah, so underneath we have the play area, of course also copywritten 2022 to Mattel. Wasn't even really paying attention to the year. I presume they'll be updating that for the release that's coming out to Europe, although maybe not. So I'm not going to have room in the area I'm recording this to show you the whole table, but it's that times 3. So yeah, that's maybe 1.5 by 3, either way. Standard hex size map, and actually, just for my own purposes, just checking here, the studio light anti-glare. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. No glare. Maybe on the terrain elements you put on, we'll see that in a second. But the board itself actually feels quite... like, this is not a cheap board. I will certainly give them that. It feels good. So underneath that... sorry, I was just laughing because I just saw the What's Going On meme video of He-Man, which is pretty infamous. Although, this is a total off-tangent thing, but the version on YouTube that has all the views is a cut re-upload of the original version, which you can also see on YouTube, that has much less views, but is a lot longer as well. And it's just a few guys just making a silly He-Man video. It's great. That's great. I love that. Honestly, that kind of looks like it when he's sad in the video as well. So we've got Prince Adam. We have... oh, let's see how many people's names I can remember from a cartoon I haven't seen in over 30 years. Well, we obviously have Skeletor, we have He-Man, that's Ram Man, is he called like Snapjaw or something? Evil Lyn, Triclops, Merman? Now we're getting into, no, that's not She-Ra, that's the, I don't remember her name. No, I don't remember the rest. It has literally been that long. Oh, Battle Cat as well. I can't remember what he's called when he's not Battle Cat, maybe that is still just his name. But either way, on the other side there we've got some different tokens. Oh, what's on the other side? That's interesting. The other side for the What's Going On He-Man doesn't have anything, but the others are like double-sided. I guess that is just for the meme, but I can tell that's the one I'll be using. So then we have the, what I'm calling the river just because I'm so used to this kind of mechanic from Gotham City Chronicles. This is a bit more reflective. Yeah, oh wow, yeah, very reflective compared to the play area. Doesn't feel quite as nice either. It's not got the finish that the board has. But this is where you track health, power, which people use for abilities, and control order in terms of like who goes for each side as you work your way along. And that's, I think, that has a special term, but this is like your character's level up as this increases, and you do that via achieving goals on the particular scenario that you're doing. So that is it. Now we've got to move this. So next, inside a very reflective poly wallet, we have the terrain elements that are used to create the scenarios. I'm not going to open this right now just because I noticed just before pressing record there, some of them are already kind of coming out. I don't want them to fall apart until I know what they are so I can separate them appropriately. But you have tundra, jungle, rocks, desert, etc. And these just create the areas you play the matches in. And then comes the more important stuff, which is, well, one, the boards used, this is for the AI slash bad guy in any given scenario. For your power cards, you put your character cards up here and you track how much power they have along the bottom, and then you have the player boards, very similar to what they do for Zombicide actually, just without the thing to track XP. So your character card goes there. This is where you pick between 2 powers for each power level you get to, and you assign power to them here or down here just to use your general character abilities as well. And I think you get 4 of these, or maybe 3. Ooh, it's quite hard to get out the lower ones. 4. And then we have an assortment of dice right here, which kind of uses a similar system to Warhammer Underworld. You've got swords for close range attacks, you've got crosshairs for long range attacks, you have Castle Grayskull for like crit essentially, and then a blank I would presume. Maybe they don't have blanks, not sure. These are for marking power. Again, power is used to do abilities, special abilities, etc. The later you go in the turn, the more power you generate. So there's that kind of, there's a balancing mechanic of make a stronger character go later in the turn, they'll have more power to do more things, but it might mean they get beat up a little bit before they get their chance to act. And then we have terrain cards and other assorted cards, including player aids. So, character activation, you can perform 2 actions in any order: attack, interact, move up to 3 spaces, or bonus action, which is free. Strategy activation, this is for AI things, and then the balance of power, that's what it's called. So that is your assorted playing cards. I'm just going to pop them back in. And then we have our little ability cards, which are, ooh, they're in there tight. Good grief. There we go. A lot of them, because you can play as the bad guys. So you've got to have the cards required for both sides, such as tactical reposition. On the other side of this will be another optional upgrade for guy whose name I can't remember. But on this side, that lets you spend power to do either of those abilities. And there's one for every character. And power system controller. So that is the other mechanic. Curious, does this lift up? No. It's under here. Nothing's under here. I guess you could store your dice in there. And this is the player character cards, including He-Man on Battle Cat, which there is a miniature for in this. But standard card for when you're playing as someone, health in the top right, basic attack strength, you can boost it with 2 power to do something else. You have a skill that you can use, or you have skills that you learn as you fight within a given scenario. And there's a stat card for everyone, and then also an AI stat card. So on that side, it's got a lot more options for spending power on Battle Cat, obviously, which is pretty cool. Speaking of cool, let's see if it comes with cool minis or not. As I'm going to move this out of the way so we can just pull out the miniature box and take a look at that. So we have what's in the top tray, and then what's in the bottom tray is actually down here. That's where the larger miniatures are and bases, although I thought they were attached to their bases by default. I guess we'll see, because I haven't looked inside yet. Let's open it up. I expected it to be a roof open, but no, it's side. So let's do it this way then. There we go. So we have in this top layer, apologies for the noise, I'm trying to close it so I can read it. We have Eternia soldiers, we have hover robots, we have shadow beasts, which are all kind of like the basic chat, because you don't just get your major characters, you get your little dudes as well. Well, semi-big dudes. So we get 2 of these. I'm going to zoom in to show you these in better detail, hopefully. Give the camera a second there. Very neat. So you get 2 of these shadow beasts, and they are obviously also on their bases, so I'm not sure what it meant before that. We'll see when we get to the second layer. And it is textured. It's not just a flat base. We have 2 of this Eternia soldier sculpt. It's not exactly a straight looking battle axe. That's a pretty wonky looking haft, or whatever that part of it's called. Not great, but certainly seen worse. So you get 2 of that sculpt, and then 4 of this sculpt, which is just basic mace and shield. Quality's good. Interesting choice of the plastic to put them in. And then 4 of the like swinging the mace. It's also a little wonky, unfortunately. Not as much, but yeah, you can kind of see it's bent too far towards him. Are they all like that? No, they're not. This one looks fine. Yeah, that one looks totally fine. It's just a little bit of a bent one on the first part. And then 2, 4, 6, 8 killer robots. Killer robots with grabby hands. These are fun. Silly, but you know, it was the 80s. The 80s where you had to do PSAs to remind children that time travel isn't real. If you've never seen the He-Man PSA to make sure that children aren't scared of Skeletor using time travel by He-Man explaining to the camera that time travel isn't real, I highly encourage you look it up. So we'll lift that out of the way gently, put it up there for me, there we go. And there we are, this is the nice stuff. This is all your more important characters. I've forgotten what the annoying little wizard is called. It'll say on the back here, what was his name again? Orko! I was going to say Obito, but I knew that was wrong. Orko the Magician. They've kind of made it look like he's floating, kind of in the same way as the killer robots. He's hovering on a stone, so it creates the impression that he's flying. And then Ram Man, I did get his name right. Strator, that's the bird guy. Little guy. There's a lot of, I don't know if it was unintentional, but there was a lot of weird names. Let's just put it that way. That's all. What was her name again? Teela. That was her name. I do remember Teela. Good detail on these. And historically, Come On Game miniatures, perfect for contrast paint and the like if you use that like I do. So these are just like base toppers to extend them, maybe? Or protect them? I'm not sure. Why would you don't get enough for all the miniatures, so I'm not sure what that's for. Maybe it's for putting maybe for putting their faces in those pictures we looked at, to use those instead of minis, because it is a board game type aspect. Maybe. Man-at-Arms, that was the basic soldier guy, but he's slightly special because he has a mustache. So there's Man-at-Arms. We saw one of his ability cards earlier. Strator, aka the Vulture. Pretty cool. Zooming off there. And then He-Man. He has the power. Hey, yeah. Classic pose, obviously calling up the power from the sword. But then also him on Battle Cat, which is 2 hexes wide, I guess, for the purposes of how the game plays. Again, excellent quality, which is what you would expect, barring a few bent maces, so to speak. But you also get Skeletor on, I'm cheating, Panther. Panther was his mount. It's also pretty fun. And then Skeletor himself just standing there. I realise I can't remember the rest of the lyrics. Either way, standing here I realise you're just like me, trying to make history. There we go. I got there in the end. Now who was he? He was literally just called Beastman, which is very self-explanatory. He do be Beastman. I can only picture him from the music video we were talking about earlier as well. And the What's Going On video. Oops. Trapjaw, that was his name. Leaning, his spine is in danger of snapping with how far back he is leaning. Fun pose though, very dynamic despite standing there. We have Evelyn, the sorceress. Oh, struggling a little bit with this one. Hopefully there. Yeah, I think that's right. And finally, we have Triclops, who I did recognise, and then it was Merman. I did get that one right. Although again, they have pretty self-explanatory names based on what they look like. Wouldn't take you long to guess most of them. Although the less said about Fisto, the better. Thankfully, he was in one of the expansion boxes, I think. So Merman is the final mini to look at. And that is everything you get in the core box for Clash for Eternia. As I say, there is numerous other additions that they did at Kickstarter. I'm not sure how many were Kickstarter exclusive, but there are other things available. I can give you a sneak peek at one of them actually. So that was everything in the box, as I just said, but as an example, here is a additional expansion for the game. This is Assault on Castle Grayskull. They did do a Kickstarter exclusive like giant plastic Castle Grayskull. This just has additional board tiles, a couple of extra miniatures for the good side and the evil side, some boards, etc. And the same rough estimate requires the core box. We're not going to look at all the specifics of this, although I am curious if this one is for solo or multiplayer only. And let's see. Oh no, it does have AI. There you go. Any side can be the attacker, any side can be the defender, and it does let you use AI. So that's the sides of Castle Grayskull that you can form there, and you're kind of like fending off people attacking it, I believe. I'm not going to have a full look at this, as I said, but that's essentially it. Bunch of other Eternia guards and different sculpts, and then also some of whatever those are. I'm not sure what they're called offhand, but that was it. So, as I say, I picked these up from my channel sponsor, imported from America, with no additional import fees if you're ever curious about ordering from them, if you're in the UK as well. And I think Come On Games did a second Kickstarter or a GameFound campaign to also get this produced for Europe. I don't think it's shipped yet. Late backing might be available. I haven't checked, not sure. But I think it is coming out eventually in Europe, everywhere outside America, essentially. And there is another alternative game made in Europe that also has He-Man miniatures, which I did try and track down, but that one seems much harder to actually find, like the core box in stock. But either way, hope you enjoyed this little look at Clash for Eternia, if you were curious about it. Great box art, by the way. I didn't even comment on it, but the box art for these is wonderful. But anyway, we'll be seeing this at some point in the future, most likely in painting videos to start with, and then a viewer verdict down the line. If you're not sure what that is, feel free to go check out the playlist. Thank you for watching though this far. If you did, please do remember to show your support, and I'll see you in the future for more. Ta for now.